You know, they say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Excellent soundtrack from Trick Daddy.
Joy 99.7.
25 years of media excellence, 25 years of broadcasting, 25 years of impacting Ghana. And yeah, today's edition of the show will be talking the numbers, but trying to cut it down into sizable morsels for all of us to understand. And my name is Gary Al Smith. Welcome again to the Joy Sports Track, the first of the month of May. We hope that this month of May will bring us better news than we've seen and heard in the past 2 months. Anyway, about 2 weeks ago, we got news that the global football governing body, FIFA, was going to send relief packages of the financial nature to all member associations. That amount of money was the money they were going to send to the member associations. However, FIFA was just sending it early in cognizance of the fact that all the member associations were going through financial stress. For Ghana, just like others, it was going to be $500,000. Cue the advisors in Ghana. Many people gave input on what that money should be used for. A, we had those who were saying that the money should immediately be shared to the clubs who are struggling. B, there were those who felt that the Ghana FA should use the money to defray their own debts. C, others felt that coaches should be paid immediately. And D, people felt that football players who are the lifeblood of any football chain should be paid immediately. Well, with 30 million experts and more speaking, the GFA had to do something. So last week, they had a series of meetings, online meetings via Zoom, we understand, where they tried to explain the financial position of the FA to their various stakeholders. And that is where the financial statement that they put out to the clubs and other stakeholders came in. We managed to intercept that document, and thankfully we've been able to get the official version as well. And so that is the background to today's show. Many thanks for joining us. Muftar Nabila is here. He intercepted that document first, did a story before we got a few clarifications from the official sources and made it tight. Still, the numbers confused a couple of people, and so he's here to help us do that. Welcome, Nabila.
Thanks, Gary.
Good. Also, Nathaniel Ato is here to help make sense. He'll be asking the questions as if he doesn't know what is what, and then we all try and help. Hans Mensa Andor will be here to ask all the questions also. So, first of all, Muftar, remind us where the GFA, the current GFA, came from in terms of financials.
Last week Friday at about 2:31 p.m. they were having the Zoom meeting, and they had written the details of the debt in ink. So it was forwarded to me. I got 3 different copies of what was written in a notebook. So I went through every single thing, and I realized that the total debt the Ghana Football Association said they had was about 10,794,000.
So just around 11 million.
Yeah, just around 11 million. However, they also indicated that in the same document, they also indicated that there was going to be a potential debt from West Head. These were people who claimed to have brokered the deal between GMPC and the Ghana Football Association.
Yeah.
So the commission due them was $1.4 million.
All right.
In that same document, it was also indicated that the Ghana Football Association owed the former coach of the Black Stars $180,000. And they said it was his salaries, 4-month salaries, plus bonuses.
Okay.
And same document also said that they bought a television for 6,500 Ghana cedis, and that was also yet to be paid. So in all these things, and then there was also that divestiture, which is 450,000 Ghana cedis.
The divestiture being the people from
GIC,
whom,
yes,
from whom the GFA bought the land
for the
on which
secretariat.
the secretariat is situated right
yes.
now. Okay.
So the most important thing for me to do at that time was to speak to people who were within the leadership of the Ghana Football Association. So I had the privilege of speaking to about 4 of them.
You mean previous executives?
Previous executive committee
Okay.
members, about 4 of them. And some of them could remember some of the debt,
Yeah.
but there were others they knew nothing about.
Okay.
The television, for instance, is one thing they said they knew nothing about it. The Ediana Stars debt, where they had to rent cars from Richfield, was another thing they said they knew nothing about.
All right.
Divestiture, according to them, the land was acquired somewhere in 2002
Mm-hmm.
by the late Uncle Ben Kofi.
Yeah.
And at no point did divestiture come to the Ghana Football Association and table to before them a debt since 2005-2006. And also, they also mentioned that for West Head, the issue is still in court and cannot be captured as a debt for the Ghana Football Association.
Okay.
So until the court comes out with the judgment against the Ghana Football Association or in favor of West Head, it cannot be captured as a debt.
All right.
There was also the other issue that has to do with the cars. I remember really in November 2019, I had mentioned about these 2 cars.
Yeah.
That was when the Glow money came in. I had mentioned about the 2 cars that the Ghana Football Association ordered from Dubai.
Yeah.
They were paying $150,000 for those cars, and the executive committee
Each
then
or for both?
for the 2 cars.
Okay.
For the 2 cars. The executive committee then agreed that they should use the Glow money to pay.
Yeah.
So when Glow made the first tranche of payment, they made an advance payment of $100,000. So the outstanding money was $50,000. So should Glow complete payments to the Ghana Football Association,
They would.
then they would also complete payment for the cars before the cars are delivered. In the document presented by the Ghana Football Association to the members, they said the outstanding was $100,000. So some people were shocked that how come the debt has risen to $100,000 when it's supposed to be $50,000?
Okay. So these are all questions that your
yes,
checks.
Yes, my
Okay.
checks and other things.
Fantastic.
revealed.
But what I wanted to know
Yeah.
was, so this is great.
Yeah.
What I wanted to know was, could you set the tone for what this administration came to meet in terms of the financial situation
Okay.
of the FA? Give us an idea of, not exactly figures because we don't know,
Yes.
but what happened to anything, and I'm saying anything that the Kwesi Nyantakyi administration had. Was it frozen? We remember it was frozen. So give us that background.
Okay. I got a copy of the financial statement
Yeah.
that was presented to Congress last year. And that financial statement indicated that for that of 2019, the debt of the Ghana Football Association stood at 4.7 million Ghana cedis.
Okay.
But before Kwesi Nyantakyi and his team left the office, it stood at about 3.6 million Ghana cedis.
Great.
That was what was presented to Congress in December 2019.
Okay.
So for about 4 months now, for us to be told that the debt has risen to about
13
point something
So-
something.
That is where the question.
That is where the questions are.
Okay.
However, I don't know if I would give a breakdown of some of these things.
Sure.
Some of the documents also mentioned about the TTU stay debt. This one has been in place since 2001.
Okay.
Okay. So
Please explain what.
Okay, the TTU stay was.
So TTU Stay, for listeners, is a company.
It's a company.
The name of a company.
It's the name of the
What
company.
did they say?
That
they-
was engaged
Yeah.
by the leadership of the Ghana Football Association for the FIFA Gold Project at Pram Pram.
Ghanaman.
Ghana Man Soccer Center of Excellence
Okay.
at Pram Pram. So these people had worked for the Ghana Football Association, and the Ghana Football Association was supposed to pay them 600,000 Ghana cedis.
Mm-hmm.
This 600,000 Ghana cedis, apparently it delayed to be paid, so they went to court.
Yeah.
So when they went to court, the court in March 2015 asked the Ghana Football Association to pay about $253,000 or its equivalent in cedis to TTU Stay for the work done. So the Ghana Football Association paid the entire principal that was asked by the court for them to do.
Okay.
However, the interest that was calculated by TTUST, they did the calculation in a dollar rate and an interest of 27.5%.
Oh, wow.
This was presented to the Ghana Football Association, and they said that you cannot bring this, because even if I go out there to go and borrow money, I'm not going to
get an interest rate
of 27.5%. So the man who was in charge of the finance committee of the Ghana Football Association, Wilfred Osei Palmer, and his team decided that they needed to re-engage TTUST on this interest bid. So our checks gathered that it was the lawyer of the Ghana Football Association, Thaddeus Sori, an emergency committee member, Nana Benyi Eisen, and the former Secretary General of the Ghana Football Association, Isaac Addo. These were the people who were negotiating with TTUST on the interest payment. When they brought it to the Ghana Football Association, then it was around 5 million Ghana cedis.
Yeah.
But it's been like 2 years now. That's why probably the money has increased to about 7.6 million Ghana.
Okay, which all makes sense.
Yes. So the defense put out by people is that you cannot calculate an interest rate at 27.5% and present it to the Ghana Football Association to pay. That one is not going to happen, and this current leadership of the Ghana Football Association should not accept it. Okay. There's also the bit of travel and tour agencies and all that.
Those who have usually been financing the travel of our national teams and so on. Yeah.
For that of Kempon, my understanding was that they presented a debt of 96,000 Ghana cedis to the Ghana Football Association. But when they did their reconciliation, they realized that no, we owe Kempon just 26,000 Ghana cedis. So that one is not going to be paid. And it is even the ministry that accepted to pay that 26,000 Ghana cedis. There's also the issue of travel matters. Travel matters, they were engaged for the friendlies against Japan and Iceland. That was just before the number 12 expose.
Yeah.
The total ticketing and everything was supposed to cost the association about a little over $200,000. So the agreement was that should we get the money from the friendlies who played against Iceland and Japan, that money, the inflow was going to be about $350,000. So when we get the money, we'll use that to pay. As to whether the money were paid to the Ghana Football Association is something we cannot confirm.
Yeah.
However, we do have it authoritatively that those friendly matches were duly passed through the TMS. So even if Japan and Iceland fail to pay, FIFA would force them to pay because in the FIFA books, it is in there that
if you invite me,
you're supposed to pay me. So it is in the FIFA books that $350,000 were supposed to be sent to the Ghana Football Association for the monies to be used to settle whoever they owe. For that of Bayo, who are the arbitrators in the Glow case, again, it was two people that the Ghana Football Association considered.
Again, just, we understand what some of these terms are, but which Glow case are we talking about?
The Glow partnership with the Ghana Football Association, it was a sponsorship of the league and the Black Stars.
Yeah.
So the Ghana Football Association and Glow had issues when Glow unilaterally terminated the contract. Yeah. So the Ghana Football Association decided to go for court action to retrieve their money.
And those who...
Yes. It lingered on for a very long time to the extent that our understanding is that it was a judge who recommended that you can go for an arbitration.
Yeah. Two
people were recommended, Prof. Humado and that of Kizito Bayu. The Ghana Football Association settled on Kizito Bayu as the arbitrator. So it was reached that Glow will pay the Ghana Football Association $1.5 million.
Yeah.
So the Ghana Football Association said that, okay, should we get the money, we'll pay Kizito Bayu $70,000.
Being their commission.
Being the money for the work done for them to get the money.
All right, consultation.
So the GFA paid $35,000. So the outstanding one was another $35,000.
All right.
So they were waiting on the remaining money to come from Glow.
And then they will use it to pay them. Okay, so all this makes sense. And one of the key things about discussing numbers is that when you throw too many numbers, people start getting
confused,
getting muddled.
Yes.
I started on the premise that all these questions started coming particularly from stakeholders 2 weeks ago when the $500,000 from FIFA was announced to be coming to the GFA. And so, I mean, the 30 million coaches and advisors in Ghana decided to offer the GFA advice on where the money should go. And the GFA has also decided to tell everybody that, hang on, before we even decide on what to do with the money, let us also tell you what we owe and what we need to pay first, so that if there is any something small for everybody, then now we can share, which is the basis for last week's meetings. If you are just joining us, this is the Joy Sports Track on 99.7 Joy FM. What we aim to do is that, you see, some of the reports you may have seen out there just put the monies out and created certain misconceptions. And I'm glad one such text has already come in for us to clear. Now, if you could please do us the honor.
Gary, good day. Hey, Kets shocked me. Wow. All these debts. So there were proper audits of all activities the NC led by Dr. Amwa. I heard they are procuring cars and repainting the premises, and all was also done under the NC. And you come back and tell us that you are owing how much? We're still waiting on this administration to fulfill all those promises. This is from Godwin in North Carolina.
That's a good one. So, Muftar, then I'll ask you. We've seen that the GFA say they have these debts. Please remind us, are these debts that they say they have inherited from the previous GFA that
includes
Kwesi Nyantakyi only, or normalization only, or FA plus normalization?
So at this point, let's say it is a GFA debt.
Yes.
And the new leadership came to meet it.
So for the purposes of this discussion, what they've come to meet is all GFA plus normalization, all that,
everything boxed together.
Boxed together. Okay.
But like I mentioned earlier, the financial statement that the normalization committee presented to
Congress,
the GFA, said that the debt was 4,105,187.34 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
However, whatever was left in the accounts of the Ghana Football Association as debt was 3,715,782 Ghana cedis. That was what was left in 2018 before the normalization committee came into office.
So if we add both, it should be about 7 point something.
Yeah, it should be about 7 point something.
All right. So
just a quick one. If you look at the expenditure of the normalization committee, they lumped it together.
Okay.
They didn't break it down. In total, the normalization committee spent 10.44 million Ghana cedis during their era. They did not give a specific breakdown of what they spent it on and the emoluments of the board of directors and all that. Those breakdowns were not given. But they just, in the report that was written by Dr. Kofi Amwa, of which I have read, clearly said that they spent 10.44 million Ghana cedis. If you look through the entire document, they talked about donations, they talked about competitions, friendly matches, and everything. If you calculate the entire figures put together, it takes you to about 5.2 million Ghana cedis, and that's what Oseko Palmer was talking about. That there's a certain page that says that about 5.2 million Ghana cedis was missing. If you go through the figures the normalization committee lumped together and compare that to previous figures, it leaves a gap of 5.2 million Ghana cedis. That's 5,246,000.
So this 5 million is something that
cannot be
accounted
for
by the NC.
By the NC, because there's no breakdown anywhere of how that was spent.
Okay, all right. So one of the misconceptions that I wanted to clear is one we saw from Godwin from North Carolina, who says, didn't they audit anything? So just give us an idea. Is it too soon to expect, for example, this administration to call the NC and say, this 5.2 that we have established here on Joy, where is it?
Okay. I don't think it's too soon. These were things that were supposed to be part of the handing over notes, handed to the Ghana Football Association. Even before the Congress document was prepared, let's note one thing clear. That Congress document was not prepared by Kurt Okrakwe and his team. It was prepared by the Normalization Committee.
Dr. Amwa and his team.
Dr. Amwa and his team. So they presented it to the Congress. So Congress were supposed to ask questions. The Executive Committee, who first got a copy of it, were supposed to interrogate it before they present it to their members. But one thing is clear, that for us to even have a look at this and clearly mentioned that about 5,246,000.
Yeah.
You mentioned that the executive committee, which received that document from the NC.
Yes.
Which executive committee? Because
We didn't have
we didn't have an
It's
executive committee.
executive council.
Sorry.
It's executive council, 12 members. The president plus 11
Okay,
others.
those who were
11.
Elected.
Elected.
Were
After the
elected
normalization
after the
Yes.
normalization
Okay.
So, I mean, like a transitional government.
Okay. Yes.
I'm giving you the document. So when you receive it, you are
Whatever
supposed to go through
questions you
This was
Exactly.
post-normalization.
Yes.
This was post-normalization.
post-normalization, post-election.
Post-election.
All right.
Okay.
So the executive council should have interrogated this before presenting it to its members. I am tempted to ask if they actually did, because if they did, all these flaws would have been uncovered.
Yeah.
And if they were able to uncover them, what were the answers provided? I have had the privilege of speaking to certain people who were within the money management system, and they said that, they paid debts of the FA and all that. They did not indicate specific debts the FA owed that the normalization committee came to pay. But
Okay.
those who were managing the money actually said, the normalization committee said they paid debt ABC, but they were not specific on the debts the Ghana Football
All right,
Association
Muftal,
had- that they could pay.
you and I have spent about 20 minutes going through this one. Many thanks. Nathaniel is here. He will be on television in about 25 minutes also. So, Nat, having heard all this, I mean, assuming you didn't know anything, we've tried to break it down from Kwesi Nyantakyi time to Dr. Kofi Amwa time to what this FAC they've come to meet. What are your layman observations and professional observations?
Okay, let me begin from the layman observations. Today I was just, from the first time I cited Muftal's piece,
Report,
which
yeah.
is a very detailed one. The first thing I asked myself is, so I'm the group head of marketing, public affairs with a multinational or a big company in Ghana. We've been approached by the FA for this quantum of support for this and that venture. What will go through my mind? Then I'm saying, okay, liquidity is very, very tight, especially in these times. So we make the liquid available to the FA in sponsorship, and the money is going to go into paying debts that are outstanding, or the money is going to go to to servicing future judgment debts or what.
Yeah.
So the first area of concern for me, from the layman's point of view, is the kind of extra image battering that all of this is going to bring, even though you may not necessarily be able to lay all the blame or any of the blame at all at the doorstep of the Kurtu Kreku-led administration. Now, you put that aside, and you're looking at some of the problems that have lingered on from the Stone Age, in quote. And you're looking at an example of Coach Kwesi Appiah's debt owed him. Now, you're also looking at that of the travel and tour agencies, Kempong and Travel Matters, which is owned by Mr. Ivan Bruce Kujo, a very good friend of the team. And you're asking yourself, is there a likelihood that we're going to see institutions and individuals hold the FA or units within the FA to ransom because of some of these debts? Because the last time that the Black Queens won major silverware was the All Africa Games.
2015.
We remember the saga at the M Plaza Hotel, where there were issues of non-payment of hotel bills, and these innocent girls had to stay extra and even protest.
They stormed our studios for a live session.
Thank you. And they had to overstay so they could push the FA to pay them bonuses for making such a major achievement for the nation. So you're asking yourself, how many more of such scenarios are we about to see because of this quantum of debt for the FA?
Yeah.
I think that we're about to enter a bit of a rough period. Because the other time we all sat back and did our own calculations, and we realized that it was going to cost the FA a minimum of $150,000 a month to run, and run effectively. Okay. And that, I mean, in immediate terms, we're looking at about 1 million Ghana cedis every month.
Every month.
Okay, so
that's operational cost.
Operational cost. So there's a lot to do. But then the other thing is, are our officers learning the requisite lessons, and are they genuinely making the effort to correct things? Because we sat here, we saw the whole normalization process start. We saw the persons who had enormous respect in their respective areas of endeavor, come in and start work. And so you expected that the professional expertise that each member of the team had would be brought to bear, especially with, issues of financial best practices. Okay? So that simple issues, because you see, the other day when I interviewed, Palmer, we've played it back on television. We have the excerpts playing back. And he made mention of this issue of the audited report, which was incomplete, and that there were questions that were raised, and is a gray area which needs to be revisited. Someone will sit back and say, oh, this guy wanted the presidency and he didn't get it, so because of that he's saying this. But remember, Palmer is speaking from a point of view of information and from a point of view of professional expertise.
And former finance chairman
of the FA. So, I mean, this is not someone trying to just raise hell out of nothing.
No, but even if, and I've heard this before, but the question, to be fair, even if he were raising hell out of nothing, if the facts are the facts.
Yes.
If they are genuine questions, they are genuine questions.
Definitely.
We can look at what his motive is, but if they are genuine questions, they are genuine questions. You know what I mean?
So to wrap up, Hans and George can also have their opportunity. Gary, look, I was really hoping that we were going to step into a period where we could.
I hope you're not going to say this new administration, you thought they were going to have a blank slate like zero debt.
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. I honestly pity Kurt and his team. I mean, look at the number of troubles. Look at the areas of our development, our football development that require urgent attention. I mean, everybody wants. Look, you go to women's football and they tell you that look, we want this and this and that to be done, and they want it as a matter of urgency.
They want it yesterday.
They want it to happen now. And you look at all of these things and you say to yourself, which one will be tackled first? When money comes in and when there's a notice that funds have come in, who will come barking at the offices of the FA requesting their money or wanting to get their money back?
And how do you prioritize?
Exactly the point. So we are going to I'm sad. I mean, it's sad because every other time when we enter what we see as a new era, there are landmines that the persons who are tasked with the responsibilities always plunge us into. And it is very unfortunate.
Okay, thank you, Nathaniel. So with that out of the way, Hans, my question to you will be, Nathaniel has laid the groundwork for how difficult things will be for this administration based on the amounts that they say they need to clear. Hans, how then is the big question. Will we step forward into the future that we've all been hoping for?
Well, I think that this administration can make it easy for themselves if they so wish. And it's really simple. I think that along with telling their members how much the current administration inherited in debt, they should have told members the extent to which they've gone to answer certain questions around some of the figures that have been, put out as debt.
Yeah.
Because clearly there are a lot of questions.
You mean what you're trying to say is, so you were told you owe 2 cedis.
Exactly. How come I owe 2 cedis, for instance?
You didn't ask, or yeah.
So
those conversations did happen. Those conversations did happen.
So for instance, I mean, easily, I can say that the GFA shouldn't be owing monies for the Ghana Soccer Center of Excellence.
Yeah.
The project itself, because the FIFA Goal project and the funds are provided by FIFA. From Goal 1 to Goal 4 is all provided. I know that for the FIFA Goal project, countries receive a minimum of $500,000 for the various FIFA Goal projects. Since 2015, actually, it's risen to $600,000.
750.
And then to 750.
So, and I think that this was completed how many years ago?
Ghana well, we'll have to check, but
a number of years ago. So, where from these debts, if the money has already been provided by FIFA, why then, for instance, we get to know today that 7.6 million, is owed a certain entity,
which is what Muftar tried to explain, that there is a principal element which was paid, so most of it is interest, and which there are still questions they are trying to clear. Yeah,
why do you owe in the first place? Because the funds for the project was provided by FIFA. Unless somebody is telling me that, the
other things
project exactly didn't cover the entire project.
Yeah.
But essentially, I think that they need to tell members the extent to which they are going to answer some of the questions around a lot of the figures. Look, Nat touched on the impression that it creates.
Yeah.
You didn't incur these debts. But what will give corporate Ghana, for instance, confidence in this administration is the extent to which they go to prove that we are being wiser when it comes to issues, of Ghana money, of Ghana football, for instance. The previous administration, a whole lot was heard in terms of how money was handled, and during the normalization period, it's some of the things you see them coming. The things I said about the someone-led administration, they're just coming back.
I remember.
I remember. And to think that they are going to throw up a figure and not give a breakdown of how the amount was spent, and to think that you are talking about somebody who has interest in the financial sector, for instance, to put out a figure and not give a breakdown. The question is, if a manager in his own company comes to him with a figure that the company has spent this amount and not offer a breakdown, would he accept it?
Yeah.
The FA should go back and get a breakdown of how the money was spent.
Yeah.
The other thing for me is a question of timing. Yes, I mean, you can say that they've had to come out because...
Hans, I'll take that question out of your mouth because we've got a comment that seems to be going where you are. So please read that.
So is that they expected, the current FA to disclose all of the above before the FIFA money came in. If the shareholders were briefed, I don't think members would complain. That notwithstanding.
That's what you wanted to say, right?
No, not necessarily. I mean, this $500,000 that came in is meant for the running of the FA's administration and all of that.
Yeah.
Of course, there is no, responsibility on the FA to hand the money over to the clubs.
Yeah.
You understand me? They first have to look at the administration or the running of the Ghana Football Secretariat and paying of their staff and all of that before.
You mean operational costs?
Operational costs before they can think of, other stuff. But I think that would have been prudent when they came. I know they've held a series of meetings with various stakeholders. These figures should have been out there. They should have been following up on people to find out how have we incurred so and so debts. And for some of the figures that we are seeing, for Christ's sake, really. I mean, I don't even want to talk about television because I know television that costs more than 6,000 Ghana cedis.
Yeah.
I mean, but
that is like the one in Hans' living room.
Really, we owe
television 6,500 cedis.
We owe Kempon
26,000 Ghana cedis.
Dollars.
We owe a shipping agency at 151,000 Ghana cedis. And then back to the issue about Bayu. Is it the same glow deal that we were made to understand that Thaddeus Sory had something to do with?
No.
Because when the issue came up, when the $1 million was paid in cash, let me emphasize, to the Ghana Football Association, we were made to understand that a certain legal representative was paid 10% of that amount, which was $100,000. Later, we understand that the money was returned to the FA's coffers. And then, subsequently, we also got to know that Thaddeus Sory was the one who had begun the process of retrieving that money for the Ghana Football Association. And indeed, had taken some amount, which was part payment for his legal representation. So, where does this new legal representation come in?
No, just a moment. Let me offer.
Sure, please.
Bayo was an arbitrator. When you had gone through all the court processes.
And it doesn't work.
Yes. You go for a sole judge, an arbitrator who will sit down and tell you, my decision is that you pay Muftau 100,000.
And it's binding.
And it's final and binding.
Okay, so his fees is different
from the
legal representative. Yes.
And why is the FA supposed to bear that cost?
Okay, so these are for example.
Well,
so Hans, what I want to say, because of time, I want to manage the 12 minutes that we have now.
Yes.
Your point is that, Nat has spoken about the danger of what these numbers and what they represent can do in terms of our image. Your point is that based on that, you think the FA can do a better job of cleaning their image and making themselves look responsible by...
If they want it to be easy for them, it will be easy. And for me, I think it's easy. Go after the people who have presented
and make that pursuit quite public.
Exactly.
That's what
where
you want
the
to
explanations, let them offer explanations.
So that when you go to K Company Limited and you say, "Oh, I want this money," they will not sit in their meetings and think that, "Oh,
absolutely,
we will be this kind."
Absolutely.
It's a serious matter.
I think it's simple
but Gary,
to do this.
I think if George comes in, then maybe my final words, that because there are some of the things they calculated as debt, they are not their debt. Kempon is not your debt. Ministry accepted.
And I wanted to ask you this. This before
my point is the that's my thing.
So John, let me ask you that question.
I want to ask the question.
So when I ask you, mine, I've asked Muftal, Nat, and Hans different questions.
Yes.
On that debt book that we've seen, and for listeners, it's on myjoyonline.com. We've detailed the sports page. It's headline in there, but we are producing an infographic to make it easier for you to digest. The Kwesi Appiah debt is something I've heard all weekend since we brought out the report. People asking, we know that it is the ministry that pays Kwesi Appiah. So how is the GFA putting it on their books? Also, the travel and tour agencies. Muftal has explained that there's some dynamics with the sports ministry. I got a call from a higher-ranking GFA official who said that, yes, indeed, it is, for example, the sports ministry who are supposed to pay Kwesi Appiah. But what they told the members was that they employed Kwesi Appiah. So they are putting it on their books. Then when the ministry comes and say, they will just take it out. It is not like...
Okay, but Gary...
I'm just telling you what I have been told.
Gary, this is the point. You see, when there's something wrong... When there's something wrong...
So, George, go ahead.
Yeah, when there's something wrong with the sheet, even what's supposed to be an advantage becomes a disadvantage. Now, what happened to Kingston, Stephen Appiah, and the rest? What, because they're also being... Wait, hold on. You see, they're also being owed. So even if you're going to represent your debt well... Yes, if you're going to represent your debt well, let's see all of them. Why do we have just
only
Kwesi Appiah?
And not
you see, that's what raises the question, that there's something wrong with this.
Then we can add players' bonuses.
Yes, you see, there are other things. You see, so even in the debt representation, it feels like this is almost being rushed and trying to make it up to suit something. I don't know. They have to come and explain.
Yeah, sure.
Because if you owe Kwesi Appiah, you owe Kingston, you owe Stephen Appiah, then you want to represent all of that. Unless you are telling me because Kwesi Appiah wrote a letter to the GFA. But I know they are all looking for their money.
Yeah.
And then I had an argument that it's because if Kwesi Appiah wants to take this matter up and it goes to any court anywhere, it will be the Ghana Football Association's name that's going to come up. That's why it's there. But I'm like, the same issue goes with the other members of
who are owed as well.
I mean, clearly, there's...
Then this brings to the question, why would you indicate it as a debt you inherited?
That is my problem. That if you take it to the positive, you have to indicate every other member of that technical team who wasn't paid or who has not been paid or has been owed. If you take it to the negative, why do you keep just Kwesi Appiah there? And there are questions about where is the representation? The Ashanti Gold matter. Where is it? So there are more debts that we know of
going to camp
that have not been stated in the.
So even representing your debts too, you didn't represent the debts well. So I'm wondering.
Their bonuses and all that.
That's my confusion. That even when you are representing your debts, you are not representing your debts well. We all know some of these debts, and we know that they are not supposed to be there. But if you are saying they are supposed to be there, what about the others?
On what the high-ranking official of the FA told you, the simple question is this: who pays the Black Stars coach? Is a ministry.
It comes to the age-old matter. It's a ministry.
Okay. So let's say GMPC through the ministry.
Why then? For me, I think the explanation doesn't wash. How then do you have money that somebody is supposed to pay as debt on your books when you are not the one supposed to pay the money? I don't know what sort of accounting that is, but I mean, it simply doesn't wash.
So for listeners again,
actually we can say that the travel matters, the Kempon, all these shouldn't be in the books of the Ghana Football Association as a debt.
It's not
because it's the ministry who is supposed to foot those bills. So if the ministry is footing the bills, why do you come to tell your members that this is our debt? So I clearly think that, like George mentioned, the motive cannot be explained, but I do think that it was rather a wrong message being communicated. Because if you look at those details, take out the $26,000 Ghana cedis owed to Kempon, because in your very own books it's 26,000 Ghana cedis. Kempon brought you 96,000. When you reconcile with your books, it's 26,000.
Yeah.
Travel matters. We know they were engaged for the friendlies against Japan and Iceland. We always say the national team is for the states.
Yeah.
So it's the responsibility of the ministry to fund that. We're supposed to get monies from Japan and Iceland $350,000.
Has it
Did
been
the
brought?
monies come? If the monies came, why did the normalization committee not give it out to them?
You see,
All these are things we can take out from it
and you see,
and not make it look like
Yeah.
there's a huge debt on the Ghana Football Association.
Muftar, you see, it was not even in the beginning an obligation of a sort to come out with the debt. But once you come out with the debt, then it means you have to now start help us to understand what the principle is. And I mean,
I think
what
that
did you mean?
for-
Yeah, because
no.
yeah,
In their defense, once the FIFA money had come,
they had to come out with it.
they had to.
Okay, so
they had to.
so let's do
yeah.
proper
Okay, Gary,
accounting.
you are
Then let's
thinking
do
for
proper
them.
accounting.
Gary, you are thinking for them.
You see what
But then-
you are thinking for
no,
them.
I'm saying, oh,
that is
Gary,
yeah.
you see what
I am-
COVID has done for us.
Okay,
If
so
what?
You see what COVID has done for us.
Right.
Because if COVID had not come, this FIFA money would not have been an issue.
And
we wouldn't have
known about it.
so guys,
I mean-
I'm just saying that now we need the FA to come out and do the proper accounting now. So we're
Yeah.
going back to how much did you?
No, but you
receive
see,
the coffers? Let's
I'm
do the
sure
balance.
that people from the FA may be listening and
Yes, they
thinking that it's not that they need to come and do proper accounting. It is that you don't understand their
They
account, which is fine by me because I mean our side.
Come explain. Well, okay.
Exactly.
So come
You know,
explain.
We don't understand that
We don't
it's the
understand.
ministry who is
Yeah.
supposed to pay Kwesi Appiah.
Well, maybe we
and
don't
it's
understand, but-
it's on your books as your
Well,
debt.
well,
Okay.
We don't understand that it's the ministry who is supposed to pay travel matters and Kempong. And even the ministry in meetings agreed that they were going to pay.
Yeah.
So why do you still have them in your books?
And it's not like
Hans,
that.
can you please check if I have a few comments on the WhatsApp before we take leave of our listeners here? On today's edition of the Joy Sports Track, 5 minutes to go. Georgiado is speaking, but if you have... Okay, good. We have a couple of comments. George, please hold your horses.
Yeah.
This one says, my name is Peter T. from Shukura. It said a debt going to hold the GFA back or cause any
That is the
hindrance.
said debt.
Okay, the said debt
Yeah.
going to hold the GFA back or cause any hindrance to the administration should the corona ban is lifted
For
on
Premier
the
League.
Premier League to resume.
These are valid questions, and that's what we are saying.
Yeah.
You know, because of these debts, would it impede on the... And that was the question I asked Nathaniel. To what extent... I mean, we knew that Ketukraku and his administration had come. Were taking certain 1 foot forward or 2 feet forward. Is this going to bring us 3 feet backwards? You know,
Yeah.
when
question.
all is said and done, that is what I want
does
to
it
hear
mean?
for the bigger
How does it
agenda.
impact everything?
What does it mean for our? Let's just say we can go for the AFCON next year.
next year.
Does it mean that we can prepare adequately? Does it mean that our whoever is going to represent us in Africa can do so with the proper support from the FA?
Yes.
For me, when all is said and done, that is what it comes down to. Hans, what's another one?
Gary,
Another comment before I bring in George.
Do we
and
have
Sam.
another? Okay, I think that's
He
it.
said, "I'm listening to you." No, I'm listening to
I think
you.
that was for yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, I said I'm listening to you live from Oseimenu, aka Sentence, inside
Fumesua.
Fumesua.
Okay.
Kumasi.
You don't have any contribution?
A quick one. In September 2019,
Mm-hmm.
the Confederation of African Football sent monies to the Ghana Football Association, right?
Yeah.
The Ministry of Youth and Sports rose to the normalization committee and told them that the total money that the Confederation of African Football sent was about $600,000.